So I had started a video earlier, but I got interrupted by people trespassing at the warehouse across the street. I wanted to go over ASA versus ASA versus PLA Aero from Bamboo Labs. Okay, this is their product. Now, this is the PLA Aero. I'm sorry. Are you eating? Am I disturbing you? Cold. All right, and this is ASA, which I tried to do in just a standard fill pattern and wall thicknesses for an airfoil. This is a single wall print A10 gondola. You've seen it before. I did crack a few pieces off because I'm trying to demonstrate some stuff for you. And this is another piece of the A10, but it's done in ASA. Now, I don't think ASA is necessarily beneficial in aerospace. I mean, they say it is, but the model they show, I doubt, is a one-wall print. I think it's an actual just model that they put together that has, more geometry to it as far as infill and all that other good stuff. The PLA Aero, which is much more rigid, it's much more, it's harder to tear, and it's thicker. The only difference between this and this, besides its formulation, this is paper thin when you do thin wall prints. And this is with, you got to understand, this is with the extrusion multiplier set as they recommend, the temperature set as they recommend on the Bamboo Wikipedia, and the 3MF file with the preset in it that they actually have at the bottom of that wiki page. So if you type in ASA print settings from Bamboo, it'll take you to a link. You'll see the 3MF down at the bottom, and it'll bring in the settings. But the problem is you get all of this stuff. So it's really dependent on the printer. So, and what I'll show you is the fact that even if you're adding supports to keep something on a build plate, it's just the ASA is really, I mean, it's a little bit harder when you print it like this, but still brittle nonetheless. It does add some flex and rigidity and some UV resistance and maybe some chemical resistance, just like it's designed for. But the problem is, in thin wall prints, it's basically tissue paper. That's all it is. Okay. Now, you might be able to get that a little bit more rigid, a little bit thicker, make it foam a little bit more, but then you're going to deal with this. You're going to deal with all this stuff right here. Because the wiper on the Bamboo Studio printer, and I'm not knocking them, they just didn't set up for ASA. The wiper's not going to take the ASA off of the silicone jacket that's around the printer head once it actually sticks to it. And then it's going to start picking up more, and it's going to start grabbing your print lines and distorting stuff and leaving all this mess everywhere. And I know everyone's had this nightmare. So I was looking up really what's the benefit? Well, there is no benefit outside being more UV resistant and chemical resistant than the PLA Aero. But what you can do is take the PLA Aero, which is way more rigid, has a lot more detail to it. It's a lot stronger, and you can hit it with a satin finished Krylon that's made for plastic. That'll help with UV resistance. It won't add much weight at all, and it'll help with panel rigidity and actually give you a little bit more of a finished panel look, which will allow for some dry brushing afterwards if you want to do color and start making detail coloring and stuff like that, and decals and whatnot, because it will soak into the pores at the top, but not all the way through, and it will allow it to still have some flex, but still have that chemical resistance and that UV resistance from the Krylon spray. So if you're gonna do a plane that's not a solid body type that you really want to use ASA on, and if you really want to use ASA, you go for it. Don't use Aero, but I mean, you could use Aero. It's just good luck finding the settings. Every printer's different. It could be my printer, it could be the settings, but I went with everything that they said. I went with everything they said on the base. 4.2 on the extrusion. Going up higher just makes this worse. So, I mean, you really you're not getting past it. And the wiper on there is not going to take the ASA off the nozzle. And that's going to mess your print up faster than anything. But this is not, I think, what ASA was designed for. Bottom line. So do PLA Aero from bamboo, still from bamboo, but it's much better. Way better. And you take that, coat it with the Krylon, satin finished clear coat, UV resistant, and that'll give you your chemical resistance. That'll give you your UV resistance. And it'll also give you a little bit better finish on the panel so that you can do painting. You can do, that's why I say satin, don't use gloss, because then it'll be harder to paint. Use satin because it'll still absorb, everything will set right. Or you could paint, an acrylic over the top, or whatever paint you use on PLA Aero to get your colors that you're looking for, and then hit it with, a Krylon. That'll make it UV resistant. The point is, covering this with something that's UV resistant and chemical resistant, like the ASA already is going to save you the nightmare of trying to print with ASA Aero. And this is the closest I got with basically, it sort of worked and then didn't. And it's messy, it stinks. I didn't have that problem with the PLA Aero. And I'm not trying to knock bamboo, but someone's got to test this stuff. Someone's got to test this stuff and put it out there and show you what's going on. These settings, like I said, are directly from the Bamboo Wikipedia page that has the 3MF preset file down at the bottom for you to try out. Now, try it with your printer. It could be my printer. It could be my temperature sensor. It could be any number of things. I'll happily change out the hot end, if Bamboo wants to send me a couple, because I don't think I should be out of pocket for this, considering I paid for the ASA Aero, and I haven't been able to use it at all. So, nothing useful has come off the ASA. Nothing. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to be, I'm being objective about this, because I've changed so many settings. I've done so many modifications, and it still will not print. Layer adhesion, obviously not bad. Using the Magic Glue. You can get Magic Glue online. That's the best glue in the world to hold anything down on a plate. I'll tell you that right now. And you can see even from the extrusion multiplier, or the extrusion calibration, that everything looks good, and then you get into printing, and then what messes it up? Well, it's when it's going through its LiDAR scan on the first bed, or on the first layer, then it's oozing out. The wiper doesn't grab that. It goes right over the top of the wiper, because it's sticking more to the silicone sock than it is the wiper. The wiper's not going to get it off. And then you end up getting oozing between operations. So if there is even a pause in the operation, sometimes not even a pause, just it's going, but it's over extruding because it's expanding. And if you lower the temp even more, you're going to get less expansion, which means the walls are going to be even thinner. So I don't know. Maybe there's a happy medium I haven't found yet. But as far as I'm concerned, PLA Aero is the key if you're going to go with a bamboo style filament. I'm not having luck with this, the ASA. So through the next couple of tests that I do, I am going to get some more PLA Aero, because I want to do the entire A10 body in this and then try the Krylon test and see how it goes. Because I've printed this in PETG carbon fiber, and I mean, it's a beautiful plane. This is a little bit heavier. So let's see what happens when we go with PLA Aero, Krylon coat, and then we'll see if we can find other expanding foam filaments that I can try. I know that Color Fab's got some I'm going to try. There's the 3D Lab Print brand I haven't tried yet. So there's a lot I'm going to give it a shot, mainly because some of these expanding foams do come in different colors. I'm kind of hoping that it'll come with an FDE color, so I can kind of make this the Desert Warthog. So that's one of the things I want to be able to do without having to add paint. But we'll go from there and see what happens. So I will keep you updated, and we'll see what we find out. And I'll try a couple of different ones to see how they go. And if you're brave enough to test Aero ASA, go ahead. It's not working for my application. Maybe for hard parts that are small, where you want that go in the aircraft, like linkages, things like that. That could be something you could use it for, but as far as the actual thin wall print, I don't see it happening. I'm gonna be honest with you. So we'll do some more research and keep on going forward and see what we find that's the best.